This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
I have to just say one thing that Quentin said to me when he gave me this award. He said that John Cassavetes would be so proud, and because he said that because I was John Cassavetes' PA on one of his movies. I got them coffee, I got them anything they wanted. I ran around that set, which was like a 16mm camera and a lot of noise, and whatever they wanted, I ran out to delis and got them stuff, and that's why I treat my PAs so kindly, because I know what it feels like. Because my office is on the Universal lot, and I'm very involved, and I want to stay on the Universal lot. I don't want to be the reason this goes too far into the 11:30 news in New York City. So Brian Roberts, thank you. Jeff Schell, thank you. Donald Langley, thank you. Everybody at Universal and everybody behind the scenes, and Christy McCosco, who is my mainstay and everything. Bless you all. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Sully. Got various people joining us. One happens to be film reviewer Patrick Crain. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's nice to be back.
Anytime. We're talking about actor turned indie film director John Cassavetes. He is known for just that wave of talkative dramas, often starring his wife, actress Gina Rollins. His work includes Shadows, Rosemary's Baby, Faces, Minnie and Miskowitz, Husbands, Capone, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Opening Night, The Fury, Gloria, and Love Streams. And that's just one of numerous. He has done it all. He auditioned for the Actors Studio, got rejected, developed a alternative type of method acting with his own New York City workshop, and he was kind of Woody Allen before Woody Allen was really a thing. And it's just so wild how he decided to get into being an actor by being in wonderful Martin Ritt film with Sidney Poitier, and it was like he was disappointed with the movie, and during an interview he was like, you know what, I think I could do a better job. That was the motivation he had. He would just record his, as many might perhaps know, he would literally record his conversations, just random conversations he was having on the weekend, and after Edge of the City he just was more tempted to do that. He decided, you know what, all my friends are actors, why don't we just record our very charismatic conversations. How did you by chance get into his cinema, Craig?
As a filmmaker, I got into him through, strangely enough, I bought Killing of a Chinese Bookie when all of the Faces International films were re-released in the late 80s, or they were released for the first time on VHS in the late 80s. And so there was a bunch of them that were released, I think, through Touch. I think it might have been Touchstone. Touchstone may have actually released these, but Killing the Chinese Bookie, Woman in the Influence, and Opening Night were the ones that were, I remember they sort of were kind of a set. They all got released at the same time. And I bought sight unseen Killing of a Chinese Bookie because, the cover made it seem so action-packed and everything.
Yeah,
And
there's a gun on it.
and I took it home, and it had Ben Gazzara in it, who at the time I was sort of, kind of lukewarm on. And
Yeah, other than
I'm like,
Defenders or Roadhouse, not many of
right,
every
I'm
generation.
like 18 at the time. Well, and what I had known him for was mostly as the enraged father in a TV movie with Robbie Benson called The Death of Richie, where
Oh
it's about
wow.
a kid that's on drugs and his dad is exasperated and he ends up killing his son at the end of it. Um, but that's what I primarily knew Ben Gazzara from. So I wasn't a huge fan of him at the time. Again, I'm like 17, 18. And the movie itself, Killing the Chinese Bookie, is really, I mean, it's very slow. And if you're looking for action, that is not the movie to go to. And even the little blurb on the box said a mini Chinatown. Well, it really isn't that either. So it was neither one of these things, but I was just transfixed by it regardless. And I just thought it was interesting, if not, if I didn't think it was all that, whatever, I didn't think it was a masterpiece at the time, but it slowly it kept drawing me back and drawing me back. And then I ended up with Woman Under the Influence. I picked it up in a used bin somewhere about 3 months later, and then opening night, and then Faces and Shadows. And I was hooked. I was a fan. I was a super fan, and have been a huge fan ever since.
That's nice. Why do you think he's just so naturally just like appealing? I mean, I can't put my finger on it really, other than just kind of, he's just, it's like he wants to put natural ounces of humanity in his work, and just kind of just show just not necessarily hard to talk about subject matter, I don't think, but just like movies and commentary on just like everything. Like Woman on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown was definitely the first of the many movies of his I saw, as a filmmaker, and I was just blown away by it. What could easily nowadays probably be a melodramatic, maybe Lifetime or TNT, TV movie, was none of that. It was just so just naturally fixated on, oh my God, I hope this person gets better. But they're beyond help at this point. They got, John cameoing as the awful husband, and then, or actually, no, I think it was Peter Falk, but I think he's in there somewhere. But, and Gina Rollins, that's another name, I would hear all the time, but other than this and Gloria, I wasn't necessarily like, I didn't know that name, and that's the thing you'd see just about every other filmmaker or actor like discuss them. And unless you were, like you say, in that circle, it was kind of like word of mouth, kind of a music album. You're like, whoa, what, who? I better check this out.
Right. Yeah, I think people find him appealing because when they watch his work and his more personal films, you see a lot of real life in there, and more so than you would in the other filmmakers' work. He was not afraid to make the non-cinematic cinematic, and there's a great affirmation when you watch something like Woman Under the Influence, and you realize that these people are very recognizable. Maybe somebody in your family like this, or maybe you've gone through a relationship where you've gone through a meltdown, or something, and you see that you're like, oh, somebody else gets this, somebody else has gone through this, and
they want to be careful
they're
with
expressing it in a way that I recognize. And you recognize through he made cinema of just of normal revelatory kind of things, getting older, becoming irrelevant, the ennui of a stagnant marriage, domestic turmoil. These are things that you didn't really get in movies, and you certainly didn't get them in the way that he made them, which made you feel like you were there, and
that they're tiptoeing around this carefully, as opposed to
yes,
let's just go into it because everyone else has done it and ham it up. It's like, no, this doesn't deserve to be hammy. This deserves careful.
Right. I mean, and so yeah, I just think there's a great recognition when people watch his work that they feel like he gets humanity, he gets people, he gets life.
Oh, totally. And I gotta applaud his cinematographers. I don't feel like a voyeur in his work compared to other people. I feel like I'm in the room with him, and just like watching this tragedy unfold. And he seems to just,
right,
like you say, naturally get society. He wants the truth and everything. But yeah, so he was nominated as an actor for an Oscar in 3 different categories: Best Supporting Actor for The Dirty Dozen, Best Original Screenplay for Faces, and Best Director for Women Under an Influence. And I'm just surprised he didn't win any of those, but
yeah, the Woman Under the Influence would have been Faces probably would have been his best shot at screenplay. I'm not sure what won that year, but 74, when he was nominated for Best Director, was going to be a tough year, being up against Coppola for Godfather 2, who did not win the Best Director Oscar for The Godfather. So it was sort of going to be, that was going to be his Oscar. So there was no way John Cassavetes was going to win that Oscar. So I feel like Faces was probably his best shot at winning a competitive Oscar.
It would appear so.
Even though he did not win an Oscar, but I do think it's neat that he was nominated for 3 Oscars, but for 3 different works. I mean, you really, a lot of times
one day I would like to see that.
nominated for Best Director and Best Screenplay, in one. And so it's nice that you were able to see that he was able to do all of these different things and get recognized in these different movies, because that as you said at the beginning, he was a terrific actor. I mean, he was a famous actor. I mean, he has his own TV show,
so many
Johnny Staccato, or whatever.
That's right.
Johnny Staccato was his television show, and and he was a fabulous actor. So I'm glad he was recognized for that talent. He was a great writer, and I'm glad he was recognized for that talent. And he was a hell of a director. And I'm glad he was recognized for that one too.
Absolutely. So joining us now from afternoon.fm is Matthew Zeitoun. Welcome.
Zeitoun. Stay tuned in the
afternoon. Stay tuned.
Hey, I'm trying to get on my camera and microphone. I'm just join computer audio. Okay. Give me 1 second. I like your Conan O'Brien display.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see if I'm on both. Hello?
You got 2 things going. So, okay, there we go. Now just one. Okay. So welcome aboard. How did you, so Matt was also partially who suggested this episode. Why are you in tune with your inner Cassavetes? What about John's work stands out to you? Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. What's going on here? This would be fun to edit.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I don't know why he joined us and then something happened. Everything okay there? What just happened? I knew he was joining late, but jeez. Okay.
Did he drop out, I guess, or just drop? Or
I don't know. I mean, give him. There we go.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out how to get fucking audio on my laptop. It's never happened before. I swear it's never happened before.
It's all good. We can hear you now. No, don't worry about video.
No. What's it called?
So
no, I'm
what about I'm digging the dog day afternoon style thing there.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Bell. Not a lot of people actually notice it is Dog Day After.
Yeah, I've seen the cover enough times. It's like I recognize the Pacino haircut.
That looks like me a little bit. And we also have similar things. I'm also trying to pay for my fucking my wife's operation. Just kidding.
Oh dear.
Nah. Yeah, but sell weed. I don't rob banks. Let's see
So
what we got
either
here.
way, what about Cassavetes appeals to you the most? Would you say?
His style of photography, I feel, is like actually a lot of things appeal to me about Cassavetes, man. The thing that really my main thing with him is, and I do this with a lot of the filmmakers, is that the philosophy for him actually making films is beautiful. Like Godard came in, and when he started started with film,
I like that
like
parallel. Godard is a big powerhouse there.
No, yeah, but he goes in and he's trying to like break all the rules. Attention to wave. Cassavetes, one predates Godard. Godard, I feel like gets a lot of credit with new wave shit. Cassavetes was doing it 2 years before. I feel like Godard kind of not a copy, but came into his own style. But it was like it started this whole wave of people not giving a shit with the jump cuts and whatever. Cassavetes' fucking first film, like Shadows, dude. At the end of it, it's just there's a whole like credit sequence that just says like this entire thing was an improv, which I thought was like amazing. And so it's that, and it's like his passion just for like making shit is really like it's so admirable. It's like coming into filmmaking, like he was just being an actor and going and transitioning after he started a studio. He started to get these acting students and bringing them in and starting to make his own films and distribute his own films, and his style in general is just like it's so like dope and like raw. Like the way the camera goes, the how close the compositions are is bar none. It's influenced my style like a lot. Like, but it's the spirit that he has when he like the spirit he has like towards making films. How it's more like his philosophy of it is more like I want to like make something fun with my friends. It's more of the like Jim Jarmusch has his theory on film. Like there's like auteur theory, and Jim Jarmusch has it's more of like a biological like reproduction. Like the film is like essentially like a child. Like there's the process of like conception, which is like fucking writing the script for the first time, getting like a rough draft of the script, all the way to like raising the child and distributing it. Fucking Cassavetes' philosophy is more like I'm just gonna have some fun with my friends, and like if they fucking like it can be like good, it could be bad, but it's more of like we have like fun doing this, and it kind of fucking worked. It's just just that spontaneity is like beautiful to me. Yeah.
Oh, totally. And and I do like how you say is like he's not doing it for the hell of it. He's really is like he wants to actually just talk about just everyday subject matter and issues, kind of.
Yeah. Just like there's a lot of beauty, but how intimate the shots are, like always was a big thing for me, man. Like I actually initially found them through like Scorsese has a list of like 85 films that
Scorsese was definitely a fan.
Yeah. Scorsese has a list of 85 films that like you should watch to understand cinema. I started going down the list, and I found Cassavetes through that. And then I would do like some like backstory on like the directors that I'd be watching and shit. And I found Cassavetes through that, and like it wasn't like the actual significance he had to Scorsese. It was like it's just his films out of all the films. Like I'm watching like Battle of Algiers, fucking like Greed. You know what I mean? Like all the old fucking like East of Eden and like like Elia Kazan film. Like Cassavetes was like, it's such a not shitty, but like it's like so like a low, but it's like something that's actually like possible. Like you can see the beauty of what you can accomplish even with a really low budget.
Oh,
crazy.
totally.
Yeah.
It makes you almost forget that his movies are so low budget because he's doing so many styles that were very common in experimental, 60s movies.
Yeah, crazy, bro. It's fucking awesome. Like, just
now it's a no-brainer. Everyone's picking up a camera, and
it was the original A24 film.
Yeah, you could probably say that too. Before Sundance, even before any of the other just micro-budget movies, like even Napoleon Dynamite and Blair Witch, where people just did it themselves. It just seemed like he was kind of one of the main invitees, if you will, like the main guys who just said, "Hey, you don't have to wait around. Get off your ass and do a movie you want to make."
Yeah, man. He it's just that spirit, bro. Faces Distribution Company. Like, it was crazy. I read his book. Cassavetes has a book called Life Work, and I got it, and it was awesome, bro. It goes into like his like marriage and fucking like how like I always admire the dynamic of like how his wife was cast in most of his films, and they're just like this crazy acting couple. But yeah, man, he fucking and he like did it too. Like at a point, I think it was after I don't think it was opening night, but it was after Face. The Shadows got him a thing, and Shadows, he went through so much bullshit that people were like walking out of the film, like as it's being premiered, and you know what I mean? Like, and then he got into, and then he was making Faces, and there was a funny story that he used it was either his house or he used a friend's house in Hollywood, and him and I forgot the fucking guy's name from what's it called? It was either him and Ben Gazzara. So fucking he was using the house, his house or his buddy's house in Hollywood, and he was using like a pool house to edit the film, like keep like the huge like reels of a film up, and a dog came in and just shit it all over the film, and fucking he had like a really good line. He said like even the dog's a critic, and fucking but like he sat there and he would recut like extensively, try to go and get more money. Like he wouldn't keep like multiple times he would like go out of money, and fucking like he never really would give up on his dream. That's like the beauty of it. And he could have been paid more money just working as an actor, man. Like fucking like he got money from like Rosemary's Baby, but he would just take all of his money from acting and put it into his films, and it was just fucking like that spirit, bro. It was like fucking amazing. I get why he gets the Independent Spirit Award. You know what I mean? Like it is like duly named. But yeah, man, fucking Cassavetes is like a hero, bro. Such a cool dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Altogether, who would you say is kind of trying to recreate a lot of his same stuff? Because his son, kind of went to Roger Corman's school and kind of went his own way, just offered real life story movies, but kind of like the Castins didn't really try to replicate their father's earlier work. And I
see like the Safdies make a lot of shit that's reminiscent to it. Not necessarily reminiscent. They don't have like the same, like they have completely different. The Safdie brothers, like the fucking Good Time and like Uncut Gems. But they're more like not thematic, but they're more they have their own style to them. But it's the Cassavetes is like influence, man, ends up just being like this like style of grit. It's not grit, and like there's a style of like realism and like pure humanism that comes out in that guy's work that fucking like nobody really can that not nobody, but it's like you'll see like the pieces from it. Like there's these like dramatic breaks that happen in like Faces and Shadows to some extent, but older stuff I haven't really bonded with. I bought, I like, you know, I like chilling of a Chinese bookie and fucking like opening night, but like it's this like moment where it's just this composition where it's he has like this signature composition, and there's like the style of the film and just the entire look and the feeling, and this rawness, like it's like when the actors are very like vulnerable and able to like really like express it. Like I feel like that's the reminiscence. I always try to achieve that somewhat in like my films or even in photography. It's just this level of humanism that Cassavetes brings to the table in all of his pieces, man. They're fucking beautiful. Yeah, big fan.
Totally. I mean, I kind of feel like everyone. I mean, you guys, Patrick mentioned Elie Kazan, and he's definitely one of the many who kind of hit it off with actor-based storytelling. I kind of feel like nowadays everyone is mainly just kind of Sidney Lumet driven.
Yeah.
Whether it's Network or Dog Day Afternoon or just 12 Angry Men or Failsafe, just like they. I mean, you practically wouldn't have half the hit TV shows on the air without some of that kind of nature, whether it's West Wing or Sopranos. It just seems like everyone looks for a raw
Sopranos
performance.
definitely has it. It has like a degree of David Chase is a big Cassavetes fan, I believe. I read a lot of like the interviews.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I think it was in TV Creators. I read a book on David Chase as he was just doing interviews. But it's that you know what I mean? It's like that moment where like fucking Tony is sitting in the bed, like just looking up to the sky, and like, you know, like it's like this peace, and it's like that's when you're really like relating to these characters. There's like, you know, there's a lot of like, you know, story build, like the build up of the Sopranos is like bar none. But like there's the brief breaks, like the silence in between the notes. You know what I mean? Of like the music that like, you know, like the visual music that we're creating. It's like the silence in between the notes, man. That's like what Cassavetes really brought in. Then Godard elaborated on it. Godard, you know, but the thing is, he gets credited with the new wave, but like the American new wave actually came before the fucking French new wave, and it was Cassavetes, bro. It was literally a guy with a fucking RE 16mm, fucking going around saying, "His cinematographer's fucking man, bro." Forgot the guy's name, but. Yeah, bro. Cassavetes' life works.
I saw that the cinematographer, I too, his name escapes me, but he had done some big, like just very well lit movies.
Yeah, it was cool, man. Fucking yeah, dude. It was just cool that his friends were just like recurring like castmates, like Ben Gazzara. I forgot the other guy, the guy who played the other guy was huge, like really big. I think it was what's the fucking name? Damn, it's the cop show. What's the cop show?
Homicide.
No, not a Homicide: Life on the Streets. With Cassavetes, one of Cassavetes' like big stars are like, you know, like reoccurring stars. Was Kojak. I think the guy was
yes, Telly Savalas.
Yeah. That guy was in like a shitload of them. But it's like he would like do acting gigs, and then cast them in his movie, like write a new movie, cast his friends in the movie, and like I think it was either Ben Gazzara or Kojak that was like it was after one. I forgot the actual film. He was there and he was telling him like he's like, this is the last movie that he's like, I'll act with John, and he died. He's like, I like acting with John, but fucking, he's like, this is the last movie that I'll do that's like directed by Cassavetes, man. But he was just going nuts, man. But it was like, you know, the art that guy fucking made is like, you know, timeless.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in, it's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
He's fucking really made a huge impression on me. Scorsese too, but you could see that Scorsese, like anytime he talks about him, Scorsese attributes himself as the mix between Orson Welles and Cassavetes. Like Orson Welles, like textbook style, like
and that's wild too, since Peter Bogdanovich is kind of in the Welles circle. So yeah, it's like who is the next Orson Welles, the one who does it all, while killing his career in Hollywood? It seems like everything's too corporate now, so I can't see as many people wanting to do this as much, because I get it. If it becomes too much,
if there's too much involved, then it's less freedom. But Cassavetes is like the first like Cassavetes, like imagine him as like a YouTuber, right? Which is kind of what he was. It was like the original, like not YouTube, but like, you know what I mean? Like making films on your own accord and distributing them at your own discretion. You know what I mean? Casting your friends, fucking, like all that didn't exist before this guy. It was the
second nature now, but yeah, no, it's true. It was.
I gotta jump in. Actually, Robert Altman beat John Cassavetes to the punch by 2 years. He made his own film, produced it himself.
That's true. I mean, and
57. So I'm not saying it, but it's not as if John Cassavetes just sort of did that out of the air. He also was influenced by Robert Altman, as was Herc Harvey, as was George Romero, because he was an industrial filmmaker who made a feature film on his own in Kansas City in the middle. So he and in terms of the influence on filmmakers, I always thought the heir apparent to John Cassavetes was Abel Ferrara, and I still think that.
Oh, Abel Ferrara is the.
No, that's a good point too, because Altman was kind of encouraging loose stories, multi-characters, kind of the anti.
Well, he created a whole style of
Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson don't exist.
Naturalism, in his stuff. But Abel Ferrara, that was another person who was very committed to making movies, where most filmmakers have to start making, their careers start off with a horror film. Abel Ferrara had to make a hardcore pornographic film to get to the horror film, and he cast his family, and he cast his friends and family in that hardcore porn. There is not but one professional in that movie. The main actress was his girlfriend, and all of his friends, the same crew that he has now. Joe Delia did the music, and Nikki St. John wrote it, and
that's a good point.
And so John, I mean, that's a commitment to filmmaking when you're willing to do that. And,
totally.
And Abel Ferrara never lost the grit, even when he made his 2 Hollywood movies. They're still pretty gritty, and they do. I would say to your point about the Safdies, I think the same thing. I think they have the grit in the heart of John Cassavetes, but they have a technical proficiency that's much more calls attention to itself. Cassavetes' films were not inherently cinematic, but the Safdie brothers they do want to draw attention to their cinematic style, which with fluid camera work and a lot of arabesques and all of that kind of stuff. But I think they are too. Heaven Knows What is very much like Woman Under the Influence, and in what the kind of emotions that it sort of evokes.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting how, I mean, Ferrara is definitely underrated. For the longest time, it seemed like Michael Mann would give him a chance to direct one of his shows, and then much like William Lustig, he got in by doing grindhouse type, movies that you were only going to be allowed to see if you, again, were over 17, and then just kept breaking in, kept working under different aliases, kept hiring new unknown actors who were gonna do the best for any kind of movie.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching the commentary on King of New York. Abel Ferrara is like Martin Scorsese if he didn't stop doing coke. Like, I don't know, like he's like the most, like he's the one of the most underrated like artists in cinema, like by far, because like he never really compromised, like, and he's just like a fucking rock star, bro. Like, he's so cool. Like, even in the commentary of fucking of King of New York, he's like there. He's like, it's funny because he gives you like gems, and it's not like this, like the studio films and like a Scorsese film. There's no like visual fault at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just like
Mhm.
a beautiful 90 minutes. Like, there's nothing. Everything is fucking is mise en place, bro. Everything is in its right place. Fucking Abel, like, and everything's in its right place in like King of New York, and like, you know, it's fucking classics like Bad Lieutenant. But he's funny because he's like, yeah, bro. He's like, this is like, you know, budget filmmaking 101. He's like, if you want fucking all the colors to match, just put everybody in black. So everybody's just fucking wears black. He's like fucking
Everybody.
He's talking about like his cinematographer, like he's talking about a cinematographer, King of New York. And he's like looking fucking. Look at my cameraman. He's like zooming in on this fucking chick's ass right here. He's so fucking funny, and he's like extremely talented. And even watching like the extra footage on like I think it was Bad Lieutenant. They did like interviews on like his crew, and the editor I think saw like Miss 45 like play at like an underground cinema. It was like, you know, he like sought out like Abel Ferrara, and Abel Ferrara like kind of hired him. So I kind of like how the Orson Welles thing worked in fucking the what's the last movie that he did? The fucking Wind, the Sound of the Wind. Is it the Sound of the Wind or some shit? The last
Other Side of the Wind.
Yeah. That's the one.
Is it the Sound of the Wind?
Yes.
Fucking Orson Welles found like his filmmaker, basically the guy who's gonna like operate the cameras and shit, so Orson could be like a psychopath for 4 years. Through like the serendipitous motion, Ferrara found like his editor through like that kind of like thing. Like the editor like sought him out. They started working together. But Abel Ferrara is like, no, he's like blasted fucking, like, you know, it's funny, bro. That guy is like, he's just like a guy who like fucking parties and then goes and like runs a film crew and then just blasts out like the fucking most beautiful art. Like, just crazy. Like, King of New York's a fucking classic, bro. Bad Lieutenant, beautiful. Absolutely.
You know who was who Orson Welles' cinematographer on That Other Side of the Wind was? Speaking of independent filmmakers, Gary Graver.
Oh yes,
he did Porn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah,
worked with Fredel and Roger Corman.
Orson Welles edited 3 a.m., which is a porn film that Gary Graver made.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So yeah.
Yeah, it's in the documentary on Netflix.
I'm sorry, he edited a scene in it. I'm sorry, he didn't edit the whole thing. But yes, the movie 3 a.m. is mostly famous because Orson Welles cut one of the scenes.
Yeah, he had nothing to lose, and he was there to support Gravy. Just, you know, I give an arm and leg for you, and it is so funny just seeing the documentary, kind of darkly humorous, because Graver's like, you know, was admitting that he was already just suffering from a stroke and just working endless hours, just editing all day for both his day job and for Wells. And it's like, like you guys say, it is just interesting seeing how all these people were just in some of the same circles and just loosely inviting everyone. Just they'd see screenings of all the other late night cinema and just be like, I got to help you out. And, you know, that they're not waiting for an invite or for Hollywood to come knocking, even though they're working in Hollywood. And yeah, I mean, it's still kind of about their... Yeah, and I mean, some of the independent studios at Sony and Warner Brothers and Universal are kind of still encouraging that, but it's not the same. I mean, I see Steven Soderbergh kind of goes for some of the same rebelliousness, but it's interesting how some of these filmmakers are comfortable paying tribute at this point to their earlier works, and you definitely see it with some of Scorsese, and it's It's kind of a shame that just so many other filmmakers I would have thought would have jumped on that same train, like Brian De Palma or somebody, but not really. They kind of just went wherever.
Make this sense.
Yeah, some of them I think didn't want to make the same movie every time, and others just kind of didn't want to replicate it. It was just too much effort to do it again, but which is a shame because like some of the best films out there, the indie films, have been based on short films that were just lengthened.
Yeah, like Bottle Rocket. How do you guys fall on Wes Anderson?
He's a like it or hate it, but he's a lot of the same routine. I know he said he was very Scorsese influenced, and I would not be surprised if he said Cassavetes was a big, or Altman was a big.
Definitely.
I see a lot of Renoir, and
I love him.
The genre noir shit. Like, you ever see The River? There's this movie, fucking Jean Renoir made called The River. It was really big on Scorsese, and it's fucking
1951. Cool, okay, I will.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's really the color palettes that Renoir uses in it. It's crazy because his films like look like his dad's fucking paintings. It's just it's beautiful. That's like Wes Anderson really fucking goes nuts for The River. That's
it's like on YouTube for those who want to see.
Yeah, like Darjeeling Limited. That's kind of not a direct like response to the River, but like he admitted to like screening it a bunch of times. You see a lot of it, but I don't really see a lot of Cassavetes in Anderson's work. You just see like, it's so structured. It's so like, I feel like people, they get engulfed in their own style. What's crazy about Cassavetes is like the style like started to evolve. Like the first two films, like Faces and Shadows, like you can see it's somebody who, it's not like I doubt that there's no storyboard. He's improvising. It's kind of like I live in an art community, and our kind of like a philosophy of improv like ends up like coming where it's like somebody will add and everybody's all in reaction to each other in like in real time. Like, you know what I mean? Like Shadows is an improv. Faces is like, is an actual like written thing. But
right.
The instincts of the camera and the instincts of the style like kind of remain the same. It was really, and then like, towards like the later works like Women Under the Fucking Influence and what came after that? I think he had like a weird film like right after.
Killing Ties with is after that. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Shadows is what we see of Shadows is actually a combination of the first movie they shot, which was improvised, which they didn't think worked. So he went in, he actually did write a script, and a lot of what we see is that film. There is still footage from the original cut in that film, but the whole bit at the end where it says this was an improvisation isn't actually all 100% true. But then he goes he goes to Hollywood and he makes these two movies, Too Late Blues, one of that with Bobby Darin and Stella Stevens, and then he makes A Child Is Waiting with Burt Lancaster and Judy Garland. And Too Late Blues is actually really good. I mean, it shows that he could make a film in a very classical style. It's and it's closer to his heart because he co-wrote the script. It wasn't some kind of assignment that he got, and it deals a lot with artistic frustration, kind of that subplot that you see in Shadows with the Hugh Hurd brother, who's the singer, and but then he goes on to do A Child Is Waiting with Burt Lancaster and Judy Garland, and that movie is not great because that's more of a Stanley Kramer production, and that's more of a Stanley Kramer film. Right. It's an issue film. It's got some good stuff in it, but it's creaky. And then he sort of retreats back and says, okay, forget this. I'm not working in Hollywood anymore. And that's when he does Faces. He does work in Hollywood again, sort of with Husbands was a Columbia film. That was a studio produced film. But
right. So limited.
Yeah, it was
in the
wake of Easy Rider. And so was Minnie and Moskowitz. That was a Universal film. And then
great.
and Gloria was a Columbia.
That was the hit. That was like his hit was Minnie and Moscow. Like he was like when they dropped that, then I think it was at the end of Minnie and Moskowitz was like he was they had rented out this office space on Hollywood Boulevard, and they were getting pitches from like all the studios, like wanted to grab them at that point. It was, and like, it was self-financed, and they were giving him like, he was making returns on all of it. It's just I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It was just a cool little piece.
No, right. Yeah. Faces was a monster hit.
Well,
yeah.
Faces was a big old hit. I mean, it was enough. I mean, it came from out of nowhere. And then it got nominated for Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Screenplay. And hell, Lynn Carlin wasn't even an actress; she was a secretary. And so it was, and that movie was part of that thing that caused the worm to turn in Hollywood. That and Easy Rider were these kind of little small movies made by these creative directors, and that's what caused Columbia to say, okay, well, we'll finance your next movie, and that was Husbands. And saw how that went. Yeah. That's, I love, and no judgment from me. I love almost everything he made except A Child Is Waiting. I'm not a big fan of that movie, but most everything else I love. I even have a soft spot for Big Trouble, his last movie, which, famously he took over that production.
Yeah.
But whatever you want to say about that movie, it's got the best spit take in all of history when Alan Arkin spits out his sardine liqueur. That's a great scene.
Now I gotta check this out. Let me see. I just.
But no, I'm glad Patrick brought up. You do have to double check some of the film history books, because when you see people collaborating together, especially on a Stanley Kramer production, you do have to take it with a grain of salt. It's like, okay, this might be, it's kind of almost as bad as the whole, Spielberg directed, co-directed Poltergeist. I'm like, no, he was a producer giving notes to director Tobe Hooper. That's what a producer does.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly, my eyes go into the back of my head. I'm like, oh my God, that
there's a difference, folks. Yeah. And it just goes on and on and on. And,
I mean, yeah.
It's a screen rant, I hate to say, is really bad about continuing rumors. And it's like, no. You got to rely on more than just Wikipedia or IMDb, guys. You can actually speak with some of these guys, or at least, I mean, when we got Shout Factory Blu-rays, there's no reason to be not in the know. Every other person, I mean, Tarantino will admit he's kind of like some of the various rock stars of the day, where it takes them a minute to realize, oh yeah, I did kind of take a music cue from this person who I grew up loving, and I didn't even realize it. It's a blender, and we're gonna take
who
stuff
wouldn't influenced by Steven Spielberg by the time 1982 rolls around. I mean, Toby, thematically, there's a lot, even though Spielberg, wrote the story and was one of the screenwriters, there's a lot of Tobe Hooper themes in that movie.
Totally.
A lot.
Totally.
And it makes for a great, and not to get off the subject, but it makes for a great bookend to Eggshells, his first film.
Right?
That's a whole other conversation. There's an thematic interlocking between those two movies that are perfect. I mean, that's why
all worlds. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of why I'm like, I understand where people think, Steven Spielberg directed that movie and the controversy surrounding it, but it's got too much Tobe Hooper in it for this is not a Christian Nyby, Howard Hawks, the thing. Conversation, because Christian Nyby never went on to direct anything but television.
I know. Oh my God. If you want to even go there, we were talking about Romero earlier. It's like, who deserves more of the credit, Romero or John A. Russo? This is like, Russo kind of ho-hummed it the rest of the time, and Romero is like just kind of kept going on his own route, his own destiny, his own journey,
right?
it is like you say, it is kind of almost a, like, if you want to say like even the Beatles, like who's more talented, Paul McCartney or John Lennon, is like apples and oranges. But you are more fascinated by who actually kind of goes on and just kind of keeps doing their own thing and evolving as an artist. But yeah, you got to basically, you got to double check the history books. You got to do some extra researching. You can't just go to the IMDb trivia and say, okay, I guess I'm ready to record an episode on this. It's like, nope.
But Child is Waiting, famously, he and Stanley Kramer didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And
they did.
Judy Garland was in not a good state, and it was just not a good experience for him. And that's when he sort of was like, I'm not making movies within the Hollywood system anymore.
Oh, totally. And it really just beckons, is like, I mean, you guys already summed up probably the next of kin, if you will, the ones who are kind of going for a same kind of route and fortunately have the opportunity to do something of that magnitude. And now that people are filming stuff on their phones, and Amazon doesn't allow independent movies on there anymore, they're cleaning up shop, and Tubi's kind of opening its gates to whatever goes. And now we kind of hit another just pot in the road, where a pothole where we can tell people, hey, physical media is not going away, digital is definitely not going away. But so all that really matters is originality. People are finding a way to kind of cheat the system, especially with YouTube and Spotify, where it's like, hey, if you can at least listen to my product or see my product, it's okay that I'm not getting anywhere near what I'm totally owed right now, money wise. I can just use that as the building template and just keep finding 5 different avenues. Do you think people are even going to make a movie on, say, maybe Spotify or even TikTok at this rate?
Yeah. I think TikTok is actually a good way. You could, it's the distribution, man. It's everybody's looking for a distribution of the thing. It's just, I feel like the downfall is just the attention span now, man, is the new generation.
Absolutely.
It's so hard to get, like, I feel A24 is making like so much stuff that's in the vein of it, which is crazy.
It's going to keep growing. There's going to be, I've seen at least like 5 new indie companies that came out of nowhere that are, Styx Media is another one that kind of does a lot of stuff that's like 70s influenced, like cops and robbers movies. Is just like everybody's got a new avenue, and then it doesn't take long for someone to talk to someone and say, hey, here's a deal I want to enter into with Fox or Sony or Lionsgate.
Yeah. it's crazy that, like, but it says A24 is killing it. Like, they're fucking like something 100 billion or some shit.
They're making almost Marvel money. It's crazy. Like, whoa, wow.
And the subject matter is like, I don't even fucking know. Ben Stiller's like depressed or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, fucking
but like, and that's the gimmick. It's like so and so on it has a nervous breakdown. Action.
Yeah. And but I mean, obviously there's like, there's fucking like extremely beautiful ones, but it's like all in the same vein of like, independent isn't necessarily like a genre. It's
even
like
Sundance isn't independent after a while. That's why Robert Redford left. He's like, you guys aren't independent, you're mainstream independent.
Yeah. You ruined this small Colorado town. What's it called?
Everything becomes a racket eventually,
That is true too. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when you see, again, I mean, same thing with like the circuses and various casinos. You see husband and wife teams, divorced, so to speak, and they do their own formula. I knew this one, I forget, like Tex-Mex restaurant where basically the husband and wife team like exited stage right, so to speak, on peaceful terms, and basically they were just allowed to continue the same family recipes. And it's just, but like you say, it is funny how is like seeing the evolution and just waiting for the breaking point, and hopefully it's a good way where it doesn't get ugly.
Yeah, man. Fucking, I'm actually watching Mikey and Mickey right now, or the making of Mikey and Mickey. How do you feel about it?
That's a good movie.
Yeah,
that's a really good movie.
I need to see this one.
You never seen Mikey and Nicky? It's good. It's him and what's it called? Like Peter Falk. And is it Peter Falk? What's it called? Yeah,
it's Peter Falk. Ned Beatty's in it.
Yeah, fucking. It's
okay.
like it's this a woman director. And
it's Elaine May.
Yeah.
Elaine May, and it got her in some trouble because she shot a whole ton of film and then sort of absconded with the negative, and Paramount had to sue her to get the negative back and force her to cut it down to an appropriate length. And that got her into director's jail the first time. And Warren Beatty rescued her for Ishtar, which got her into director's jail the second time.
I was just about to say this is the same one.
which in both cases, I think in Mikey and Nicky and Ishtar, I love both movies. I think that, I think they're both great. I think Mikey and Nicky is a better film than Ishtar, but I love Ishtar. And I love Elaine May.
Yeah. Fucking what's crazy about it is like it still kind of has the same, like, it's obviously like Cassavetes and like, like his like, it's kind of like his crew, but it's like, it feels like a movie that like Cassavetes would like make, not necessarily, you know what I mean, but like kind of the same like kind of style, but he's like acting in it. It's
definitely.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. I mean, some people think, most people think it is his movie because if they're not paying attention, it's exactly like a Cassavetes movie. Yeah, that's what's so funny about it, man. As you watch it, it's kind of the reason why I got like into it. I thought like, I thought it was a Cassavetes movie that I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And then I loved it, man. It was fucking great. It's just these realist moments, man. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go. That's the beauty of it too, man. Is that you don't have to go so crazy with it. Like that's why I really love Abel Ferrara and I love Cassavetes, because they make it like movies are. It's extremely personal, and they make the actual production of it like fun, but they actually make it like achievable. It's not like this insane.
I love that word, achievable.
It's not
focuses
like
on the can I or won't I. But you can do it. Just do it.
It's this fucking like. There's no like a Marvel movie, man. There's fucking there's explosions and all this shit, and there's a whole like lead, and it's not even at the end of it, you don't like leave with anything. With these fucking movies, it's two people, like two performers and like, great artists. It's like a good like theme. And it's not like, an insane camera shot where it's like, we have to get a crane and fucking like blast it across. It's not.
Yes. The money shot.
It's not the crazy like Orson Welles fucking what's the fucking second movie? I'm bugging right now. But like, you know what I mean? It's not like all of this in
Touch of Evil.
It's nothing. It's nothing. It's everything is achievable, and it's literally just good photography, capturing people feeling something real in the right moment. You know what I mean? And or it's just a bonding of brothers, or a fucking a marriage that's going south, or a fucking love that couldn't be, right? Simple concepts, nothing crazy. It's not like this, this staging, and obviously, there's a lot of production value, but it's like it's nothing crazy. It's like kind of like it's theater. It's like it's the same vein that he was probably bringing into that acting studio, man. Was just get all these people together, and we're all gonna like work at something that we love doing, and we're gonna make a movie, and then we'll sell the fucking. It's like all.
Even if we don't like making it, we're gonna make something out of it. And I think everyone, I hope, like with all these great names you guys have mentioned, Altman, freaking Ferrera, and Wells, and especially tonight's topic. I hope everyone can remember, you don't have to love making it. So many. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a very boring time, even like capturing one of his random conversations but he found it again in the editing room. So many people are just, the media is even worse than it was, back then. Now we have jumped the shark in terms of the minute we hear just anything like so and so had COVID on set, or someone said this about that out of context, is like a movie is dead. People don't want to know why or how. They're just like they take the bait of the clickbait, even if they know it's clickbait. It's just ridiculous.
It's funny you should mention that. So this confirmed yesterday. But I got 5 days. I'm doing a documentary on Andy
Congrats.
Dick. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I confirmed yesterday. I'm gonna do I'm spending 5 days with Andy Dick. My buddy. I don't know. Like you were saying, like the media is like so fast to like to completely like like blast shit out and like jump in the shark. Like Andy Dick just got out of jail, and
I didn't even know he was in jail.
And he tried to grab an Uber driver's cock like 5 years ago, and
that's why I always never liked him. Is like his surname rings true.
The name of the doc. We're just gonna call it Dick. But you guys ever see American Boy?
I can't say that's ringing a bell. Sorry.
American Boy is Scorsese when he first actually, what's weird is I found out that it came after Taxi Driver.
Yeah. The Stephen Prince.
The Stephen Prince profile. That's what I'm going to try to achieve with this Andy Dick documentary. But
man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, I want to just do the same. I always try to get I've made a couple shorts when I first started making films.
It's a fun thing, isn't it?
No, it's beautiful, bro. It's so much fun. You know what it is, man? I take Cassavetes' philosophy with me, bro. It's
more people should.
I make films with my friends. I'm able to it's not even fun if it's something that's I don't really care so much about here's the return of it and all this shit. I make films with my friends. We have a good time. We're making characters that we can actually explore with. And but with Balaclava is the first one I ever did. My buddy Neil, shout out to Neil Gazai. What's it called? I basically took shit from Shadows, where I'm writing a simple scene where we have two characters, that are they're both just discussing over an object, and I didn't have any real preface to it. It's directing the first time is the first time having sex. You don't know what you're doing, but it's a lot of fun. So I had these two characters and they were going, and once the scene's taking off and the dialogue, it's the tennis match of the dialogue is going through. I was doing the cinematography work. I was shooting my own shit. So I took a lot of the motions that came from Shadows of and faces, how the camera will get uncomfortably close as a push in, and it's not even a natural push. Yeah, it's this this push in isn't supposed to be it's not really even supposed to be handheld, for a very typical director, it's just storyboarded shot, and not necessarily storyboarded shot, but you're following cinematic language. It's just the camera that Cassavetes had in his early films was so free that they could actually explore they could actually explore it. It just got so intimate that you're so connected with these characters.
Can't wait to see this, my dude. You're gonna have to send us a screener.
Oh, it's not. But Balaclava is. I've got a lot better, but it's my first film. It's me and my buddy Neil Gazai. We have a thing called Three Kings Entertainment, and we basically it's the same philosophy that Cassavetes had. It's make things that you will enjoy and you feel free and you feel you actually
naturally flesh it out instead of and like you say, I think a lot of people, they'll either put no rules on set or they'll just go crazy and then just be like, man, we lost so much time and money on this.
it becomes a military hierarchy. If it's a set where it's like, yo, there's a shitload of money that's on the line. It's just it's John invited like 6 of his fucking actor friends. They're all pulling up to the house and fucking, they're setting up, and it's like a band rehearsing. You know what I mean? Like his shit was
the natural garage band progression instead of, by the way, I know you guys hate this, but we've just signed you up for 5 tours without your permission, and you got to go if you want to make any money back.
Yeah. Oh man, it's nuts.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't even think it, and who can blame them? I feel like a lot of people like to go to the wrestler, or what I say, maybe sports athlete mentality. Just sign up the young and the weak, and don't even give them a proper like PR guy who can strengthen, what they want to do, build their confidence level, build, their future. Instead they kind of just wait for it to hit the fan, and you get all these various interviews where someone comes off as a dick because they don't have any people skills. They've set them up for failure long before.
I don't know, man.
And don't get me wrong, you got to put you in retrospect too, but it's very saddening when it just seems like someone, is misbehaving on their Instagram, and no one is able to seem to just pull them to the side and say, can you just stop that? Let's go outside, take a walk, and think about what you do want to do instead of getting negative attention. Because I know, yes, there is any attention's good attention mentality, but still, at the end of the day, if everyone just wants to talk about sex tape or some other just bullshit that, a painful divorce, then that really isn't doing you any good in the long term. People associate you too much with that.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, they've been rewarded for this behavior.
Yes.
So it becomes a cycle, bro.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So then they don't even know what is right or wrong anymore, especially if they're seeing hypocrites constantly being outed. Then they're like, oh, it's like like you say, it's a dog who's been rewarded for chomping on, another dog. It's just,
so he's going to start chomping on other dogs, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's just, I always appreciate.
I'm sorry to get morbid. It's just very sad. I really wish there was a way to.
Someone just watched the Alex Jones interview, huh?
Oh God. Oh.
Dude, that shit is nuts, dog. I don't know. Oh wait, it's weird because so you got to stop these people. But I'm worried. I'm wondering how the Andy Dick thing is going to work out because
I wish you the best of luck.
I don't know how it is. He's like always on, not like on drugs. I mean, maybe. But
I believe it. Every comedian I've heard says he's just like always hyped up, and then like disappears, and then he reappears, and it's like, where the hell did you go?
Yeah. There's a lot of there's. I was checking like other things on him, and there was Everybody Has an Andy Dick story. It was like everybody just talking about like how. Just how Andy Dick is in the thing. I want to make it more of basically like not a 5-day podcast, but like a just like that profile, like American Boy. If it's like just a nice black and white like American Boy, and you actually see who this guy is, because he is kind of like BoJack Horseman. He is. He's like a living impersonation of like BoJack. You know what I mean? Like he makes a lot of money, then he'd like fuck his life up, and then come back, and he's just he's just like, he's a very like complex human being, and that's it's definitely gonna be a thing. But I don't know, I really want to that's the thing, is I really want to capture him like Faces, you know what I mean, like that, like like the shots like towards the end when like the husband comes back, and the fucking the chick is like woken up, and the dude she was cheating on the husband with is like gone, and there's that moment when they're in like the stairwell where like they know the marriage is like kind of like fucked.
Kind of. It did stand in my mind. I think I remember that, along with the just authentic crying segment, and just I wish TCM, they occasionally will show some of his movies, on their Friday night, cult movie retro hour, but I wish they'd do it more often instead of just, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like what they're doing in general. They'll show a giallo horror, they'll show some schlocky, movie that was a big deal in the drive-in days, but I really would like more Cassavetes showed more lately.
Oh yeah, bro, because it's fucking educational now. It's just
And it
like
empowers everybody because, as Patrick already hit the nail on the head by summing up, just you don't feel like you're just watching someone watching, a private conversation. You've already, Matt, have just discussed how the do-it-yourself approach transcends and then some. Like he goes for more than just see what I did there. And he's even though he's pulling his own set of tricks, I don't really feel like he's trying to trick people. But when he does, oh man, it really is dynamite, because then you're just like, bravo, man. You can live with that on your, he has lived with that for years on his tombstone. I did that.
Yeah.
And no regrets. No one got hurt. I just did what I did. That's all I had to say.
Yeah. And that's all we could really hope for, man. It's such a tragic death too, man. I was reading about him, and so he died of drinking water in Mexico when he was like shooting, I forgot what film, but he was shooting a film and he drank the water in Mexico, and it was like, it just like, I forgot what the fuck it gave him. I don't know what the actual death is, but I think it's like kidney failure or something like that.
It gave him cirrhosis.
Oh, there you go.
He died of cirrhosis, and his own drinking did not help. That was another part. He was a chronic alcoholic as well. And he died of cirrhosis. And what I wish so much, in a sort of in a morbid kind of way, is that Love Streams, he got a terminal diagnosis in about 84. His doctor said, you got 9 months to live. And so he made Love Streams, and Love Streams was to be his last film. And at the end of that movie, he looks at the camera and waves goodbye. And it's such a great, it's such a great little moment. But he outlived his doctor's prognosis. And so then, Big Trouble fell into his lap. And he did it as a favor, probably needed the money because the diagnosis that he got he wasn't going to get better. So I'm sure that, the medications, everything that was very expensive. So he took the Big Trouble job also as a favor to Andrew Bregman, who was the actual writer and director on that movie. The guy that did the In-Laws, or wrote the In-Laws, and then did the Freshman. But so he stepped in as a favor to him, and Peter Falk is de facto the lead. And so, there was already sort of a natural chemistry, filmmaker-actor chemistry, friendship there to do Big Trouble. And Big Trouble is not a terrible movie. It's funny. It's got some nice moments. And on the whole, it's not bad. It's the kind of movie you'd watch on HBO in the afternoon when you were sick, when you were, 12, and think was kind of funny. And, it's a pleasant enough movie, but it's not a John Cassavetes movie as we know what a John Cassavetes movie is. And so he does not stick the landing like, say, Robert Altman again, who knew he was dying and made Prairie Home Companion, which is a movie about dying. And, I love the end of his career. And there's a part of me that just wished that Big Trouble never came along, because Love Strings is a brilliant movie. And also, I would say, very influential to P.T. Anderson's Magnolia. I find a lot of Love Streams in Magnolia, especially the moment where the movie sort of turns into an opera and everybody starts singing, sort of, that occurs in sort of a fantasy in Love Streams as well. But I wish that would have actually been his last movie, because it's a masterpiece.
Totally. Well, this has been a delight, gents. This got really heavy.
Yeah, I know.
We're seeing like to say is,
oh, sorry,
like,
I didn't mean to end it on such a heavy note.
I'm bad too. I brought up some gritty filmmakers.
Let me add one last thing that's interesting. If you have the Criterion, set of the John Cassavetes set, if you watch Faces, you'll notice in the end credits that Christina Crawford is in the cast, and Christina
Correct.
Crawford, of course, is the daughter of Joan Crawford, who she beat the hell out of, and then she wrote "Mommy Dearest" as a big tell-all. Anyway, Christina Crawford is in Faces. She's in the Losers Club at the beginning of the movie when they all get tossed out. But if you watch on the Criterion disc, has the alternate opening sequence of Faces.
Oh, wow.
She is in much, much more of that if you're interested in Christina Crawford spotting. And also, I think the alternate opening of Faces is really interesting and actually may have worked had it been in the movie that way. So anyway, just that's to end it on a less morbid note.
No, I get it. And I mean, he was still a delight to just kind of discuss, because like he is talking about stuff that's just, again, just, it may not be necessarily easy to talk about, but it's hard to find your own style without just being told, hey, you know, that's just plain depressing. He's really good at, like you say, just summing up material that I mean, Roger Ebert even said this is very grating, and I must applaud him for, again, wanting to do what he wanted to do, and like you say, bringing out a side of us we didn't see. You know, just like, wow, this is fascinating, this is intriguing, this is real. And I really hope more people can see his movies, even if they're not keen on seeing intense subject matter or movies that win awards. You know, I think I have yet to say anyone. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I don't think I've even seen Cassavetes be placed on most overrated filmmakers list. Not even Slate or Slant, I don't think, has gone there.
Yeah,
because it seems like everybody else is up for grabs. How dare you make one movie that's not great? It's like, well,
yeah,
you like them, if you like a good chunk of their work and you think they deserve credit, I don't think you should put on overrated film.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Fucking just the beauty, man. The beauty that the guy just
beautiful artist. He's a beautiful artist.
Yeah, just fucking
even
just
beautifully tragic. But I mean, man, it's more than just that. It's just, it transcends life and it transcends film.
The power of photographing an expression that's like, yeah, it's just truthful and fucking human, and like, you know, and it's making a style, and without having like resources, without having to you know what I mean? It's the passion that goes out and makes the thing, like from creating, like from really just pure creationism, and not a streamlined fucking, here's your McDonald's, you know, here's your roller, it's like, here's your roller coaster ride, here's your guns, here's your fucking whatever. It's just like, just people being people is a subject enough, and it's a very beautiful subject. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you, John.
What would you like to promote as well, Patrick?
I'm sorry?
Is there anything you would like to promote before we go?
Promote? Yeah, just if you want to read the stuff that I write about, just go over there to apollotwin.com and just go diving in there. I in the new year, I promise I'm going to be adding much more new content. I had a lot of stuff going on at the end of this year that got me all tripped up, but yes, all kinds of stuff from Scorsese to Bob Chin. I write about everybody.
Nice.
Sweet.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a